Are we up? Are we up? We up? We up? We up? All right, y'all can hear me. Cool. Now, the whole time, you know what? I'm gonna just check the sound on here, and
Of like road rage, you know what I mean? Or like, I read a story the other day where this young lady held a door for someone and the woman didn't say thank you, so she
it's funny. 'Cause it sounds loud as hell on here, but you can probably hear me breathing too. But it sounds loud as hell on here. But on in my phone, uh, let me say that again. On my phone, if I'm playing the audio, it's loud as hell. But it's not that loud when I'm listening to it. So, but anyway, y'all can hear it, and that's all that matters. Okay, after the party is the after party. Welcome everybody. I am your host Ray. Now, normally I usually have someone with me, but like I said, it is midnight, 12:05. First off, happy birthday to my little sister. Her little she just had a birthday, so happy birthday to her. I gave her, in my opinion, the greatest gift she has ever had. She's a fan of Telltale's The Walking Dead, and I did. You know what's funny? Me playing it, I didn't think she'd be interested in it, but when I started playing it, she was getting interested in every episode on the first season, and she loved Lee. And and the funny thing was, like, after that, I could not. Anytime when there was a new episode, I couldn't do it without her. She was like, "You better not play without me." So, this was my gift. Like, I did this last year, but this was my gift to her from because she was a fan of The Walking Dead.
Yvonne, it's me, the Everett. Just want to wish you a happy birthday. Got a little advice for you. Same thing I told Clementine. Don't trust anybody. Learn to shoot that gun. And don't get bit. Hey, I heard from your friend Raymond. Wanted me to wish you a happy birthday as well. And let me just say this. May this be the best birthday you've ever had, but not nearly as good as all those birthdays still to come. What's that noise? Oh, walkers, damn it. Gotta run. Happy birthday. Ha!
That is right, D. Dave Fenoy. I put a cameo for Dave Fenoy, and he is the voice of Lee Everett in The Walking Dead, one of the greatest games you could ever play. If you haven't played Telltale's The Walking Dead, I'm pretty sure you can play all four seasons. I got it on my PS4, and if I ever get a PS5, it's going to be on the PS5, so I have it. Uh, so if ever you want to go back to playing it, I advise y'all. It's a good game to go. It's like funny thing is I don't even like point and click games. So when I realized it was a point, I didn't even realize the point and click game until like 30 minutes in. I was like, oh shit, it's a point and click game. And then I got interested in the story. And then I started putting other people on there, and they did. And then it got to my sister, and she was like, "Yeah, you can't, you can't play because the first season ended, and she liked that. So when the second season started, you started as Clementine. I was like, I cannot play this shit without her. So every time there was a new season out, I couldn't play, and we went through the seasons together, all four seasons. So I advise you to go through that whole Walking Dead shit. It's, it's great. Now, on to our main program. Okay, I am what you call a Melyssa Ford sip. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it at all. I am a Melyssa Ford simp. I've always loved Melyssa Ford. Ever since I first laid eyes on her, I said that woman is one of the most beautiful women in the world. But even with her being, I've followed her career for like the longest. And even I always knew she was a smart woman. She always came off as I don't see a video of it, but she's always smart to me. Even when I've seen her in like interviews, and I've seen her on like the first time I saw her was like Video Vixens when he was talking about Video Vixens, and that's when I first saw her. I was like, damn, this one was beautiful. But even then, I knew she was a very intelligent woman. You could just tell. There's some women you could just tell is very intelligent. So yeah, I've always called myself a listener for it, but it I know she's like 49, 50, almost. She's almost 50. But, and she still looked good. Don't get me wrong. She still looked good. But there was things that, like, it bothered me because, like, I know she's somewhat more of a feminist now. And I feel like some of her ideals, like, most of it, I can't blame her. But when she went and did that hot and bothered joint and she was talking about the men she was with, and I remember breaking that down. I don't know if I broke it down on here or I broke it down with B. I think me and B did an after party on that. And I was like, there's some things I had to call her out on. And the most of it, like, she had a good man. And she ruined it. But that was on her. I feel like a lot of her, except for like the second relationship, a lot of her relationships, she cost on herself. Especially like the first one, where the dude, he didn't do nothing wrong, but she ruined that relationship. And even when the other people that, because she's been engaged like what, four, she was proposed to and maybe engaged like a couple times, but again, they all kind of like fell to the wayside. And this is coming from a simp. I was like, I had to pick that up. And then there's some things where I've seen where like even her on the Joe Budden podcast, do they kind of harp on her? Yeah, but it's not for no reason. And I think because, we could always blame misogyny and them being misogynist sometimes. And even she had a little spat with Mark Lamont Hill. And Mark Lamont Hill be on her side most of the times. But it was just like when he did it, she was like, do you have a problem with me? He's like, oh, no, you're not used to people, you know, giving you slide or, making slide. So when that was done to her, I think she'd seen the writing on the wall. But like I said, I was still simp. And with that being said, even though I call out on bullshit, I still simp for her. I've said that before. I'm gonna listen for a simp. It's the same thing with this right here. Now I've already watched the whole 2 hours, and this is a good. I would say this. This is a good. If you really, really like sit there and digest everything that's going on, this was a real good talk. But most of the first part, unless you really care about it, it's most or less fluff. And I know a lot of people just want to get to the juicy stuff. And it's just like the podcast. Me, I didn't care about the podcast much because I knew she was going to do her own shit anyway. I think that's what it was planned on. But this right here, and this last part, this is to me the interesting part. Not even about the Joe Budden podcast, but it shows me that to me, I don't think she understands men, and I feel like this is a lot of problem with a lot of women. I feel like a lot of these women, they fear men, but they don't understand men. And I feel like the only person that got would get through to her is Charlemagne. Now, a lot of people will go and say Charlemagne might be pandering or not. I don't know, but I feel like in this video, Melyssa Ford, she's gonna say some things, and Charlemagne, I feel like with a very subtle way, he said, instead of just saying she's wrong, he made her say, take a look at it this way. Because, like, Charlemagne like playing the devil's advocate, but also it was just like, he didn't let Melyssa Ford get away with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff he was just like, maybe you should look at it this way, to a point where she wasn't fighting him, to where she was listening to him. Now, with that being said, I'm pretty sure the people on the Joe Budden podcast was like that, but I feel like she always felt like she was on the defense, that she always had to feel like she was fighting back instead of listening. So it's just like, and usually when you're on the defensive, you're not really listening, you're fighting back. And if you're just fighting back to get your point across, nothing really gets solved. So now, if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, especially at the end, there's a lot of things that they discuss on here, and Charlotte and I'm going to pause it in between. But Charlemagne, I feel like I don't. I guess the term is now clock her tea. I don't even want to say clock her tea, but it's just like I feel like Charlemagne did speak up for men in here. That I feel like a lot of things that he did speak up for men, and I feel like it was getting to her where she had to sit there and think about herself. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's what we're looking at right now. So let's get to it.
Went behind the woman to get her thank you. They end up in a fist fight. Then the woman ends up pulling out a gun and killing the girl in front of her 20-year-old daughter. And it's just like, at what point did somebody not say, all right,
it's not worth
this isn't about me holding the door. This isn't about that person not saying thank you. Like, there's something else going on with both of these individuals, right? And they couldn't wait to project that pain on each other. So it's just like, humans aren't naturally just wired to hurt each other. Something happened.
Yeah.
And I think,
by the way, this is all about, he's big on therapy, and he's talking about how people need to seek therapy. My thing is, there are people, especially black people. We're going to speak for black people. I'm not going to speak for the other race, but I'm going to speak for black people. But this is just my personal opinion. Do we need therapy? Yes. A lot of us need therapy because a lot of us come from broken homes, broken families, and a lot of us come from stuff that, in my opinion, there are some things that you can keep, but there are some things we need to get rid of and evolve from. Now, before this, he was talking about, she was giving Charlemagne kudos about how he handled the Dame Dash situation because Dame Dash was calling him gay. And, he was like, we should have had a conversation about him being broken. Not broke, but broken. Now, I will say this. I'm from the I say this all the time. I'm from the DMV. Um, I know a lot of gay dudes that are just stand up men. And I would rather have a flaming mofo that is a stand up dude rather than someone who claims they gangster, claim they alpha man, and is a total bitch. I've said that many of times. I've hung out with gay people myself where it's just like, yeah, these are some stand up dudes. Like you could trust them with your family and all that other stuff. Yeah, they like men, but they are also like just real cool people to just be around. Like, and I always like, to me it's just like, this is why I always say gay men and straight men have a conversation, because there's some things I feel like um a lot of us, we can learn from each other. And yeah, I just think there's a lot we can learn from each other. And some half of the times it's just like, when you get past that whole homophobic, oh, I ain't with that gay shit, bro. I ain't with that gay shit and all that other stuff. Some of y'all just realize that, yeah, that nigga cool. Nigga cool as hell. Like, oh shit, I chop it out with him all the time. It happens all the time when it's just like, when you see a straight black man and a gay black man, and all of a sudden it's just, oh no, that nigga cool as fuck. Oh, it's happened many times.
that we got to remember that about each other.
Yeah, I think you talk a lot about our algorithms being very subjective, and we can create these algorithms, and sometimes there's stuff that just kind of gets funneled to us. But I will admit that my algorithm is very specific. There's a lot of cats and dogs in there because for the, just I need the laughter and I need just, the good heartfelt moments. There's a lot of travel because I'm constantly thinking about where I want to go next and what part of the world, part of the globe I need to see. There's a lot of women empowerment stuff. But a lot of times when you do have the women empowerment part of your algorithm, a lot of the other side is going to filter itself in. And that's the gender worry, masculinity versus femininity whole rhetoric and stuff like that. And it does start to, kind of like have an effect on you. I guess what it's not that I don't believe that there is a huge swath of the male population that is interested in growth and evolution and their mental health. I'd absolutely believe that. I think that the ones that aren't, I think that the manosphere, red pill nation podcast bros, I think that they are so much louder.
But that's the loud minority.
I consider myself red pill ish. Red pill ish. It's funny because one of the homegirls, like I just met, and like we kicked off real well. She loved my company, I love her company, and all that stuff. I told her I was red pill ish. It's like her face looked like she done seen a demon, cause she wasn't very fond of red pill, and she was like, "Yo, what do you?" This is like, "What do you? Why are you red pill? What do you?" So, and I look at her, and here's the thing: I looked at it, and I could have just like gone on talking, but the first thing I said was, "Before I give you my answer, what is your definition of red pill?" Because I need to know where her head was at. Because the way she was just like, she seemed so disappointed that I even said I was red pill ish. So I was like, "What is your opinion of red pill?" And like the way she was talking about her red pill, it was just like, "Oh, these are these conservative, MAGA loving people that hate black women, and yada yada yada." Things like that. It was just, "Oh, they hate black women. They don't want to see nothing. It's just very conservative. They think women are beneath them and all that other stuff." And I was like, "Okay." I am not none of that you think that, and none of that, and none of that is really red pill. So she was like, "Well, if none of this really red pill, why would you call yourself red pill?" I said, "Well, the origin," and I told her the origin of red pill, and I say this all the time: the origin of red pill is for men to get their shit together so they don't have to deal with bullshit, and also understand the female nature and how to maneuver around it. Now, here's the thing about the black manosphere and the red pill and all that things that would combine, because there are incels in there. There are incels in there that just like see people harp on black women. That's why Fresh and Fit was so, not just black women, just women in general. But that's why Fresh and Fit was so popular, because like he would bring these women on, and these women would have these superficial delusional traits about them, and like with stats and facts, Fresh and Fit would just cut them down all the fucking time. And I used to watch Fresh and Fit just like everybody. I used to watch Fresh and Fit, and then I started realizing Myron was kind of corny and very like he's very like, "Oh, I'm about the white zaddy shit and all that other stuff," and I seen that and I was just like, and after the shit with Albert the Priest and he was making fun of Preacher's wife, and even like the way he was mocking Preacher's wife, even though that wasn't his wife, he was still mocking people. I was like, "Bro, that's corny. That's corny." And when Preach was like, "Oh, I'm going to Miami. I'll take one bitch and I'll like two other bitches." Like Preach was ready to fight. They fucking backed out and like cowered like little pussies. Now every once in a while, even now, like Fresh, like especially Myron talk shit. I don't think. I think Walter done tried to move past that because he knows that's the shit that fucked their money up. My Walter, he's still trying to like get the girls, talk to the girls about this shit. Walter, like Byron, tries to be, on his political and be on that political garden that got them demonetized. And Walter, even then, Walter was just like, "This shit don't make money. I like making money. I don't want to talk about that. This shit don't make money." But even then, I told her I was red pill. I said I was just like, I am not fresh and fit. I am not nowhere near like Donovan Sharp. I am not nowhere near like Andrew Tate. I said the origin of red pill is to get your shit together, and basically I'm paraphrasing everything I'm saying, but the origin, also letting you people know, the origin of red pill is for men to get their shit together and know how to maneuver and understand female nature and maneuver through it. Which means like sometimes you don't have to deal with some of the shit that they're going through because like even if they have delusional standards and all that other stuff, it's just like you're worth it, damn. And that's really what it also means. But the thing is, I think a lot of people like seeing the people like Donovan Sharp talk, and the people like the motherfucking yeah, even Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, he was never really Kevin Samuels never really considered himself red pill. Let's just get that. I know he was in this space. A lot of people refer to him in this space, but he was never really considered himself red pill. Matter of fact, before he died, he was like, "I'm not fucking with that space," because I think even he knew that there are toxic people in that space that he just shouldn't fuck with. So Kevin Samuels was never really considered red pill. Same thing with like mediocre stories of views. Like a lot of people say he's like, I'm not really red pill. But they all have the same ideologies. It's just trying to make men better and like knowing what to avoid so you don't have to deal with this bullshit. And that's the same thing I told her. I was like, even and I told her, even fresh and fit do this, and even most of the people tell you to do this before you even start talking shit about the female. What are you doing with your life? Are you getting money? Are you in shape? Are you dressing well? Are you getting the best of your ability? So before you even talk about these women, fix yourself up. Because you, just like anybody else, and I tell people, look, just like you don't want no dusty nigga, we don't want no dusty ass woman either. We don't want no money hungry, gold digging ass women either that just don't want me but want what I bring. Um, we don't want we don't want no bullshit ass nigga, or we don't want no bullshit ass woman. I've done said that before, not to her, but the origin of red pill to me was that it's just like learning women traits and how to maneuver for, but also getting yourself to a place where you don't have to deal with this shit. A lot of, and because of people like Fresh and Fit, people like Donovan Sharp, people like Roland Tomasi, they're very hypocrites, and they're like, they kind of killed that. And that's why a lot of people, that's why people like Kevin Samuels, like, excuse themselves out of it. Motherfucking Andrew Tate, and people love Andrew Tate, and they call him like the Red Pill final boss. He don't really consider himself Red Pill, tell you the truth. So that shows you where it is. So, but cornballs ruin the space. And that's why like red pill gets the flack it is now because of cornballs that say because I think a lot of these people that are against red pill don't even know what the fuck red pill is, but how can like but this is what they see on television or this is what they see Myron doing some shit, he over there cooning to the white, you see Myron cooning to the white man, also like buying pussy or buying escorts when they was like vehemently against it. So it's just like you're doing a bunch of hypocritical shit. You seeing a lot of these red pill dudes that say, "Oh, don't do this," but they're doing it. It makes you very hypocritical. It's like dudes like them fuck the space up, and that was like the big problem. And I feel like that will always be a problem. This is why red pill is dying right now, or red pill is dead to most people. Because I know Sneeko made a video, but yeah, a lot of these dudes are hypocrites.
Already a lot of times.
And then when you see the comments, well, not only that, I mean, when you read cases like Giselle Pellicot, the woman in France.
Oh yeah.
Whose husband was basically renting out her body for about 10 years and drugging her in the process to where she didn't even know what was happening to her. And then this became like this massive case in France, and 51 men saw some kind of level of prosecution, but it was up to 80 men that had participated in this. And they were doctors, lawyers, grandfathers, fathers, brothers. They were all you know, pillars of society and members of society, professional, et cetera, et cetera.
But they was buying pussy. The problem
They
is
they were not buying pussy. They were graping.
But wasn't he selling her? I thought he was her husband or something.
She was unconscious.
Oh,
he was drugging her
got you,
and renting out her body.
Got you.
Yeah,
got you.
That's a fucked up story. I was just letting people know that's a fucked up story. I'm pretty sure that man went to jail. I hope he gets everything he deserves because that's a fucked up story. You shouldn't be doing that to your woman.
Wild. And so when you hear things about that, when you see the swath of men from all walks of life participating in something like that, when you hear about this group chat of like 72,000 men sharing pictures of their wives and girlfriends in an intimate manner and exchanging stories as to how to manipulate women and drug them and take advantage of them. And I mean,
listen, there's some men that you trust to bear more. What was that shit y'all was arguing about? The bear or the man? Whatever. There's some men
if you ran into a strange man or a bear in the woods, who would you choose? 98% of women chose the bear, and men lost their ever-loving minds.
I mean, because it is a very ridiculous thing. But I understand why women could feel that.
Here's the thing. If the bear kills me, that's fine. At least he didn't grape me. At least
I'm gonna let her finish.
He didn't sexual assault me. At least he didn't like violate my corpse.
But what if that guy is running from the bear too, and the guy's trying?
It's entirely possible, and this is I want men to really truly understand why women have no choice but to be fearful. You have 4 daughters.
Absolutely.
I need to know what, and one of them, your oldest is I believe 16, 17.
Let me ask you a question. Have you had more positive experiences with men than negative?
That's a good question not to ask her, but and to me that I feel like that's when I get into a lot of debates with women in this. I ask the same thing. Do you have a lot of positive moments with men, or do you have more positive moments with men than more negative? Me myself, I knew a lot of stand up men. So every dude I do was stand up. Maybe they probably have their vices here and there, but overall they were stand up men. And I know she's gonna get into like some of the men that they were stand up guys too, and they was doing some foul shit, which is why like everybody has vices. Some are very fucking worse than others. I did as men we understand that to the point to even when like the whole thing with the bear, I still think it's stupid, but it's just like they would rather their death to be quick than you know to get obviously sexually assaulted by men because they have to live with that. It was like with the bear, if the bear kills you, it's just that's it. Now now the this is where I started saying about she doesn't understand men. Like, do you understand why men are upset? And I don't think she cares. And this is one of those things where it's just like, as men, we're telling the women, do you understand why men are upset? Because only I got Google. We'll Google it. I'm sorry. She. Uh-huh. Damn, I can't type. Coming from the NIH. Okay. Mm. Perpetrators of rape. The vast majority of prosecuted sexual offenses are committed by men, and the 99% of perpetrators of sexual violations on men reported that were men in the fiscal year 2021. That's a no shit. Right? To me, that's no shit. In various studies, college men rates the self-reported rape perpetration range from 4 to 16. The study published by National Institutes of Health noted that between uh, 25 and 57% of men in college community samples report having perpetrated sexual assault, a broader category than just rape against a girl, against a girl or woman since the age of 14. Research suggests that a small percentage of male perpetrators are responsible for vast majorities of rape, indicating about 2/3 of men who commit rape are repeat offenders. Again, a small percentage of male perpetrators are responsible for the vast majority of rape. This is just now. I get that most victims of sexual assault and rape are going to be men. That's a no shit. But it's also known that it's not that many of them. It's just it's really a small percentage, and even then, it's just like some things is just like very iffy. And the whole and this was been my whole spiel is that not every man is going out and like just trying to sexually assault or R word women. Most men wouldn't even like. I think majority of men wouldn't. So it's just like I'm getting punished for a percentage of men that do that, and like why do I get punished for something that I've never done? And that's the thing with the whole talking about grape and everything. Oh, this person went grape. It's like I'm not even. Most dudes is just like I'm not even on that type of time. I'm not even on that type of time. It's like I want your consent. Even when we talk about our fantasies of being with the celebrities, it's just like it's consent is there. It's like because we know it's just like if you um I would rather your consent over anything. God damn it. My sister kicking my ass in fucking Scrabble. But but no, back to the like of course I would want my consent from women. I'm not trying to like and I'm speaking for myself. I don't even like I don't even like being around women that is uncomfortable around me. If you're uncomfortable around me, I will go somewhere else. And this is coming from a person that did go through a grab ass phase where I was grabbing women. And it was like because puberty hit me like a fucking ton of bricks, and I was like a Incredible Hulk with my fucking hormones or some shit like that. But once I learned how to control my fucking hormones, like I don't even want to be around. Like I said, I don't even want to be around women that feels uncomfortable around me. Like and even then, like the person I am now, like I had to get to this part. It now granted it stopped when I was younger because yeah, I was that dude that would go around slapping butts, grabbing ass, and all that other stuff. But I eventually stopped because okay, that's not cool. And plus, I got sisters. It's like, well, if someone do that to your sister, what would you do? And everything falls in line with it. So now, like, I'm the most respectable guy, and I'm going to make sure you this safe space. But I've never, never R word a girl, and I feel like that's how most men feel. It's just like, bro, I'm not even on that type of time. So this is why, like, because of a small percentage of people that do it, and they are repeat offenders, we gotta bear the brunt of a small percentage of men that do it, and it's like that's not fair on us. Now we will understand if a lot of men were doing it, then yeah, but it's just like only a shortage of men are doing it. So let's get back to the conversation.
That's an interesting question. I have had extraordinarily fulfilling and have fulfilling platonic relationships with men. Absolutely. I have had not the greatest personal romantic relationships with men.
You see how she died? She kind of like moved the goalposts on the question. He asks, "Do you have more positive or do you have more positive?" Hold on, I'm gonna just let him say it.
Positive experiences with men than negative? Come me ask you a question. Have you had more positive experiences with men than negative?
That's what he asked her. Have you had more positive experience than negative? We didn't ask you what type of. He's like, have you had more or less? And then she had this long, elongated question where she could have just went straight to that. She could have just straight answered the question, but no. And this is what I mean, like not understanding. Man, he asked her a very direct question, and yet she gave you this mumbo jumbo.
That's an interesting question. I have had extraordinarily fulfilling and have fulfilling platonic relationships with men. Absolutely. I have had not the greatest personal romantic relationships with men.
So based off that,
Like I said, all he asks is, "Did you have more?" It's like, "Oh, I've had some here and there." It's like, "Did you have more positive relations with men than negative?" She didn't answer. Like she didn't answer that. She just gave that man word salad. So
Personal romantic relationships with men.
so based off that, you know that all men aren't terrible human beings.
I do know that. However, I will say this. You want to know one of the reasons why women watch all that murder, death, kill stuff, all the serial killer stuff? Because we're trying to understand what threat looks like. Because usually it's presented as somebody who's very, very normal. The BTK killer, Dennis Rader, he was a pillar of his community. He was an active member of his church. You know, John Wayne Gacy, same thing. Like the evil.
But why they don't ever do the positive stories? Meaning, like, because all of this, I'm not saying it's not true, because it's definitely true, but propaganda works both ways. If there
and this is what I'll let her finish. Hold on. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it's not true, because it's definitely true, but propaganda works both ways. If there was a network that showed us, these great men who did right by women and, protected women and held women down, your perspective wouldn't lean so much to, men ain't shit, I gotta go with the bear.
No, trust me.
We had that at one point. If anybody knows me, I slept the '90s, and the one thing we had in the '90s that I felt like we had a hold of, we had some of the greatest TV dads on networks. So you had Bill Cosby. I know he was '80s, but it's kind of going to the '90s. I know James Evans was like '70s, but I'm gonna throw him in there too. Um, but Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil's probably one of the greatest TV dads ever. And you see how he was a positive influence on and off the show. Reginald Vell Johnson, aka Carl Winslow, another great TV dad, a cop, and he was a cop, and he was very fair in all of his assessments. And I know people hate him, but I'm throwing him on there. Frank from Moesha. The thing was Frank was that last season kind of fucked him up. It was just like, oh yeah, the illegitimate child, because they really did need that story. And I've done a review on Moesha where I was just like, the last two seasons, it felt like it was more focused on Dorian than it was Moesha. Um, but the whole thing about Dorian being Frank's illegitimate son, I agree with Cheryl Lee Ralph. It was like that was stupid. You really didn't need that. But I think a lot of people hated, a lot of women hated Frank Mitchell. But the thing about Frank was he just didn't want his child to be a hoe. And that's a lot of dude. Like, if you follow Chris Rock, and he was like, "Yeah, my whole job is to keep you off that pole." He's like, "I don't," and that's how I feel like a lot of overprotective fathers is. I just don't want them to be no hoe out here in the streets. It's okay that you like boys, but I just don't want you to be no hoe around here. And then, like, even then, I thought Frank Mitchell was a great dad. Now, a lot of the he was just like an overprotective father, in which, you know, can you blame him? Because he wants the best for his daughter, as any overprotective father would want. Want to be great for the daughter. But I know a lot of women hated Frank Mitchell. I thought he was, but the whole thing about him having an illegitimate child, I thought that was stupid. So
Much to, men ain't shit. I gotta go with the bear.
No,
and also Julius from Everybody Hates Chris, and I know that's like 2000s, but I'm gonna throw him in there too. Because to me, that's what shows you what a great father was. And he was a hard working man, worked two, three jobs sometimes, and still was able to spend time with us. And still giving him good advice. Also funny. One of the funniest TV dads too. Julius from Everybody Hates Chris.
trust me, I place in my algorithm men that I know are, there's a guy named Will Hitchens online. There is this podcast, it's these four young Black boys. I can't remember what the podcast is called right now, but I mean,
Oh, you talking about
it starts with a J.
jamming or something like that?
This,
Jam?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
I think I've seen some of this joints on. I don't know much about them, but I think I've seen some of the clips on, and I know like they really get at Donald Trump. So I'm not sure like how they do their podcast, but excuse me. I'm not sure how they do the podcast, but you know, I haven't seen nothing that I would go against. So shout out to them.
From Chicago, I think.
I love them. I love them because it's just, they take men and brosphere and red pillars to task. And their rhetoric is is so respectful towards women, and they just have so much common sense for being so young. So I follow them. I follow Deontay Kyle. I definitely have an algorithm full.
Now I done had like three videos on my other channel about Deontay Kyle. Um, he blew up real quick, but like I don't have a problem with the brother. I say this all the time. There's things where he done said some shit that not I'm not for, because it's just like I think the whole thing was the whole taking accountability of. I did a video on it too. Shit. Uh, oh, go to my other YouTube channel. Shit. Just type it in. Oh, shit. Maybe it's just me, and maybe there's also. Oh God. What am I, blackballed or some shit? Golly, it shouldn't even take a. But you know what? I wasn't. This is why. Uh, actually, I should probably go back. This is the one.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well.
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
That was like my first video about him. By the way, I'm at 99 subscribers on here. If someone would like to put me over to 100, I would be very grateful. But I remember like doing that video, and I was just like, I am not taking accountability for another man because he don't know how to put, especially if I'm doing right. And my whole spiel was, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do over here, and yet I'm supposed to take accountability of a nigga that's not doing it. I said, one of my biggest pet peeve is, uh, what people get. Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves is definitely getting blamed for someone else's fuck up. I hate that because if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do over here and he's fucking up, go to him. But it's just like you saying that as men we're accountability because that guy don't know how to take rejection. I was just like, that's not my job. I was like, he a grown ass man, he can take care of himself. I was like, you got a problem with him not taking it, you confront that with him. But like I told people, that is not my job. The other one, I think it was stop snitching. So,
But why do we perpetuate this shit to all black people? We want all black people to adhere to street rules. Don't snitch. Woo, woo, woo. What? I'm not supposed to preserve my own freedom? Because you want to fly off the handle? We ain't talking about a RICO case where Diddy was trafficking bricks of cocaine. He was trafficking people. Don't snitch? What are you talking about? Nigga tried to blow up Kid Cudi car. Don't snitch? And he was subpoenaed.
He got to go.
yeah, that was about not snitching. My whole thing about don't snitch is just like, one, everything comes up on it. It's like, uh, usually anytime that people just, as far as street niggas go, because everybody's like, oh, you're pressurated. It's not even that. It's just that the cops don't protect people that do snitch. It's like, even Charleston White, look, the cops not even protecting Charleston White, and that nigga is a snitch. Like, he'll use the cops, but you also heard of him getting touched. So it's just like, okay, even if I do snitch, there's still niggas on the block there's still niggas on the block that still selling dope. And if they find out I'm snitch, I might be done for. I said the thing with Charleston White is he can move around wherever the fuck he want. He don't even have to stay in the same spot. Same thing with 6ix9ine. With 6ix9ine snitch, you think he stayed in the fucking hood? No, that nigga move around. And then it's just like sometimes it's not even that we don't want to, but it's just that I know that most people. That was my whole spiel is that people don't get protected when they do snitch. So it's just like you might as well just not snitch because gangsters snitch on themselves anyway. Especially today's gangsters because a lot of them are stupid enough to show their fucking illegal ass guns on TV. Not only that, and they'll tell you they caught a body. There's a couple of them that I've seen on Instagram talking about I killed people, dog. I was like, why the fuck would you tell people that? Like, that's nothing. Like, I tell people like I'm not a gangster, but you would think I would tell people that I done had a couple bodies under me. It's just like no. That's why people thought King Von was a fucking demon. But Yeah, that was my whole thing about Deontay Cal. Back to this.
Of men that are, that are allies to women. But I will also find myself in the comment section of certain things, and it's just it's very polarizing, and it pulls you. And especially, I've had my own experiences of being around a certain type of a certain group of men who exhibit groupthink, and that groupthink tends to lean very misogynistically. So it has an effect on you, as somebody who's just kind of like absorbing it simply just because I'm a woman and I'm the woman in the room kind of thing. It's just.
I listen. Are there fuck?
Now I know people kind of like look at that as them talking about the Joe Budden podcast and all this stuff. I'm not even focused on that. But I would have asked her the question. I feel like I would have asked her is like, "What do you mean? What do you mean by group thinking? What do you mean by misogyny?" Because this is her show. She could say whatever the fuck she want. But I also feel like there should have been some uh um questions that would, okay, what do you mean by that? And I feel like we never got to the point where we picked their brain about that. What do you mean by groupthink? What are examples of groupthink? And sometimes when you do this to women, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Sometimes they're just spewing what the fuck they heard. So this is why, like, me myself, it's like if you would have said something like that to me, it's like, what are you talking about? Because it ain't my first time. It was another girl. I'm not even gonna say her name, but we had this whole argument about like, oh, you probably hanging around misogynistic people. I was like, who are they? And I was like, I need names. Who are they? And she was like, it's not even about that. I said, oh no, we're not pulling that because if someone did something to you that made you uncomfortable, or like, I need to know that because I need to go confront this motherfucker. She didn't give out a name, but it was just like she was like, "Oh, that's not the point." I said, "No, that is the point because y'all saying that men don't because like again for some reason there's a stigma that men don't really like hold other men accountable." I was like, "Yes, the fuck we do. We do it all the fucking time. Y'all may not be there to see it, but there's times where niggas just like, yeah, you felt fucked up, my nigga." But let's keep on.
Boys out here, yes, but I still believe in the circle of trust of humans. And I believe that the shooting percentage when it comes to the circle of trust of humans is still very, very high in spite of all the bullshit. And what do I mean by that? We wake up every day, every single one of us, and we trust that we not gonna go crazy. I don't know none of these people in this room, but one of these motherfuckers could go crazy and fuck up the whole day for everybody. You could go to freaking Dunkin' Donuts and order a coffee, and it's that one person in the back who might decide, you know what, I'm gonna put some fucking,
Arsenic.
fentanyl or arson in her shit. Or you might get in the car with the Uber driver and that person decides to run off the road. My point is, we don't think about that type of stuff. You don't go into Dunkin' Donuts and think somebody's gonna put arson into your fucking drink. You don't order the Uber and jump in the car and think this person's gonna run me off the highway. You don't walk in rooms with perfect strangers and be like, okay, who's gonna be the person that shoots this shit up? So there's a circle of trust that exists amongst humans. And in spite of all of the bullshit, we do pretty good at making sure that all of us are safe and protected. So I can't base everything off, just the bullshit. Now, do I, raise my daughters with that mentality? Yes, but I also let them know to be aware. Just like right now, I'm aware. I wouldn't walk in here with my own shooter if I wasn't aware. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the mentality you have to have. It's the reason we have life insurance. Like, you have to be prepared. You don't want these things to happen. And you're not even expecting these things to happen. You're just, I guess, prepared if they do. But imagine if we had to wake up every day and just not trust anybody.
I mean, that would be really isolating. But
you're kind of.
And a lot of you women do that. I don't trust nobody. And look, I get it. Hood, especially if you grew up in a hood mentality, you grew up off of survival. If you grew up on survival, it's hard to trust anybody because anybody can get you killed. Whether it's male, female, man, woman, anybody can set you up. Anybody can get you killed. I know Like I said, I know some good bitches that probably maybe not personally, but I know there's probably some females that probably did some good shit to a motherfucker. Like, it's probably the same thing Cardi B did. It was just like you just gotta, you just gotta. To me, this is why like vetting someone is important to understand. Because sooner or later, like if you get to know someone, they'll expose themselves, and I feel like that's just psychology 101. Talk to someone long enough, they'll eventually expose themselves, especially when they feel confident around you. So yeah.
Doing that with the men.
No. Hold
You
on.
started it off by saying, fuck niggas, get money. That's basically what you said. You was like, I don't want to be with nobody.
No, it's not that. I'll be completely honest. It has nothing to do with me not wanting to be with anybody right now at this particular stage of my life because of this massive career transition and spiritual transition. I'm having what I now understand is a spiritual awakening. And it has been so powerful that I don't think anybody needs to be there for at this moment. I need to be I need to be here with myself and integrating everything that I've learned, in a very short amount of time, especially at the retreat that I went to in Mexico. I'm at a point in my life where so much new information is being downloaded from source. I don't have anything to give to anybody right now because I'm still receiving.
I understand.
And that's literally it. Like I have hope or a belief that there's the imperfectly perfect one out there for me. Source knows. I don't. I trust that they've got my best interests. But I don't think that I put a whole lot of importance on that. And I'll tell you why. I think that after a certain age, read perimenopause, women start to really take stock of their life. And I think also in this decade of life, the 40s, you really start to think about the meaning of life and also how meaningful your life is, and changes that you want to make because also you're thinking about legacy and, and just what impact or what what mark you want to leave on people, the world, whatever the case is. But I think what also happens to women at this point in time, because we are conditioned to be such people pleasers, and conditioned to center men, everything else about our lives is accessory. The goal is to get a man, get claimed by a man. And by the time you hit this decade of life, women start looking around and be like, what did that get me? And not to say that there's not women who are like in very happy relationships and happy marriages and stuff like that. I'm pushing that aside. Let's just say that you're in my particular situation, or let's just say that you've been in a long-term marriage and haven't been happy for a really, really long time, and you think that the best thing would be to split apart. Women are in this decade. We start to really kind of analyze. What does life look like when we decenter men? And
I hate the word decenter man. And the reason why I hate the word decenter man because I feel like as men we center women as well. I don't you don't understand and I'm gonna use a personal story. When I was living with my whole family, right? Our freezer wasn't working, so we called a repairman. Repairman was a old one of my old bosses from a piece of Bowley's that I used to work for. And I was like, God, this nigga look familiar. It was just like, yo, you used to, and I started talking to him. It was like, yo, you used to own piece of Bowley's over there in Orlando. He was like, yeah. I was like, you remember me? He was like, it's me, right? He was like, oh, and he's from Pakistan. He's from Pakistan, Muslim, everything. And first thing he asked me is, you got a wife? I was like, no. He was like, come on, man. You need to get married, get to have kids, all that stuff. So it's just like the same shit that women talking about. Oh, is be all male focused. You know the shit men do, and this is what I mean about like some of you women not understanding men, and Melissa for not understanding men. Men, we get that talk too. You know how many talks where even some of our friends is just like, "Yo, when you gonna get married? When you gonna have kids?" My mother still like my mother still wants me to have kids. You know, my father is just like, when you want to settle down and have kids. My bonus mother, she had me to talk, and I was just like, yo, I'm not financially, and this is when I didn't have a job. But she was like, oh, you don't have to wait for that. I was like, but I ain't having no job. I was like, you trying, they're trying to get me to go date a woman, and I was just like, I don't even have, and this is when I didn't have a job. And I looked at her and said, I don't even have the funds to take a girl out on a date. And it was like even it's just like as y'all talking about like things in male centered men, we center things around women. You like the old Chris Rock's joke is just like like we could live in a cardboard, and I'm paraphrasing, like, man, we could live in a cardboard box, but there's a lot of things we do for women. We get the money for the women, we get the cars for the women. Most of our goals is trying to get married and have a woman. Hell, if you were like a dude that's get multiple women, it's just like, oh, I'm trying to get these bitches. We go to the club. Where the hoes at? Y'all don't think men don't be centering themselves around women? We do. We do a lot of shit just so we can get the perfect wife with the perfect life and all that other stuff. So it's just like you women, you talk about, oh, decenter, men. It's just like, oh, it's stupid. It's always been stupid because it's just like mm, these are just things that, as far as men, we need each other. And the whole procreation thing, I need women to procreate. Now, um, let's continue. Let's continue.
Men to understand that that does not mean that we don't love you or want to have you in our lives, but it's just this it's radical self-acceptance. And the world and society teaches women to never accept yourself, that there's always room for improvement. That's why the self-help section of bookstores are mainly geared towards us. For you guys, it's get rich, get fit, for the most part.
For bitches. There's self help books for men too. And this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of women are so into their own problems, they don't see men's problem. Or, like, even when men talk about their problem, it gets shunned to the side. And it's just like, damn, it's just something kid. It's just like you're more or less likely to get your women. Plus, women buy most stuff too. That's why a lot of things are marketed towards women anyway, because women are usually the consumers and the buyers. Men, we don't, unless we really need it. That's why women are buying houses, and men it's just like, no. It's just, if you're wondering like why women are getting houses and all that other stuff, and men is just, we're looking at this. It's just like, um, yeah, y'all not gonna be able to afford that house because, and I'm not even making fun of women because it's just like as men, it's just like we're minimalist. I don't want to say I know I am. I'm minimalistic by nature. I say, but even then, me and B, shout out to B, do usually do this after party. But we had this talk that sometimes a woman does push you to do better things, which is why, like, I tell people most of the time your answer is you do need a woman because a woman is going to push you to do better, especially if you really want to love, take care, and provide for her. A woman's going to push you to do better things. So if you're living, and I say this, if you're living with a roommate in an apartment and she comes over here, she's going to push you to be like, you know what, baby? This is cool, but we need to have a place of our own. I say, you thinking about marrying us? Sis? We need to have a place of our own, somewhere where we can live. Okay, so we go into, okay, instead of being with a roommate, I room with you. So now it's just like I feel like we don't outgrown this. You have kids, I feel like you're outgrown this. We're gonna need a house, so you go from an apartment to a house. You know, with the with kids. It, a woman, to me, a woman is always going to push a man to do better because a man always want to make sure a woman is provided for, protected, and provided for. Like, that's where we go and make our legacy. Now, is there, I don't know, like, as far as legacy goes, a woman she wants a legacy. I don't have a problem with that. I know a lot of people gonna look at that as being masculine. I don't really see that as being masculine. I feel like everybody wants a legacy they want to leave behind. So a lot of women feel like they have to choose their career over their legacy a couple times, which I guess so because y'all get pregnant, y'all don't want the kids. I can see, like to me, I can always see that part, um, but yeah, that's why I hate the word decenter. I feel like women don't. It's just, I think it's just an excuse for women to be selfish with their own self.
But for us, it's like you're imperfect, change everything.
You know what's so crazy? I know so many men that are in their 40s right now who sound just like that. Like literally, like they want they want a wife. Mm-hmm. Like they want to have kids. Like they're looking at, somebody like myself or somebody like Andrew, and they're like, damn, and I shouldn't even have said that because it's like, what I'm saying? It's like friends of ours that are like, they want to be married, they want to have kids, they want to have the family. And I know a lot of guys that are like that in this moment. So I think that
I'm like that. I'm gonna be real, and I'm gonna be real with you. I'm like that. I wanted to get married. I've been wanting to be married since I was 21. I mean, like even when I was going to the Navy, I was just like, oh shit, I finally got a job where it's just like a good stable job. I get the first 15. Um, the first time I fell in love, I wanted to marry that girl. I've talked about my ex on my channel all the time. That one was like the one we was on and off for 3 years. I was like, if I can make it through this boat, I said this. If I make it through this boat, I'm gonna marry her. It's like I'm gonna marry her. We obviously didn't. We was close, but it was just like if one of us got off the boat, then I would definitely propose. I was like, I'm buying an engagement ring. So it's just like it's gonna be you and me against the world. That's how I felt. I'm like, so even then, I see my nephews now. One of my nephews is I'm about to be old enough to drink. I'm like, God damn. But I see the way my nephews interact with my big sister, and I was just like, damn, I want that. Even then, it was just like when she was married to her ex husband and the way they interact with each other, I was just like, and this is where I used to come home from the Navy. I used to visit my nephews and my older sister and her then husband. And like, I used to go over there and be like, hopefully I could get a family for myself. And that was just one of my biggest. My parents being married for 20 years before they got divorced, I was just like, damn, I want something like that. My grandparents who are still married to this day and is still showing love to each other to this day. I look at that like, damn, I want that. Damn, I want that. Like even now, like my um my little sister and my niece, who I adore, and it's like she turned 10. I'm like, God damn, where the time go? It's just like I want kids. I want kids, even to this now. But I do. I was just very careful who I'm having kids with. I'm surprised I didn't have a oops baby because I'm not gonna say I was running wild, but there's a couple times where like I could have had an oops baby, but I didn't. But yeah, even then, I'm I want kids. I still hopefully I will have a kid before 40, but that clock is ticking. But even then, it's just like yeah, like even my best friend, it's just like he's been married to his journey, and I watched his daughter grow up, and she in high school now, and I be thinking to myself, damn, I just seen you was a little girl, now you in high school. It's like, damn, where's the time going? And then I see him interact with his wife, and it's just like, I want that. I want that type of family, you know, I can just grow old with. But again, I'm still team no kids though. Like, I'm team no kids.
Society would be a better place if men would express that.
I
You
think
know what I'm
so
saying? If
too.
men would talk about how, man, I don't want to be 45 years old, 46, 47 years old and not have a woman and not have a family. Like I want that. I think if men would have that conversation, men and women would stop missing each other. Because
I think, and here's the part where I disagree with Charlamagne. I think we do have that conversation, and I'm gonna speak for myself. A lot of people come up, and a lot of people come up to me, and we're gonna be talking about a lot of things that I think they're gonna go over, like intimacy and emotions sooner or later, and this is where I really want to hit. But a lot of men in my lifetime have come up to me, and we just chop, shoot the shit. We just chop it up and all that other stuff. And I've heard like what they want in life. It's like even men with wife is just like, yeah, man, my wife is doing this and all that other stuff. Like I've heard people talk about their son doing soccer and all that stuff. It's just like, yo, this is great, and it's just like, damn, I can't wait till I get, I want to get married. I've had these conversations with dudes. They're like, you want to get married? Hell yeah, I want to get married, have a wife, and kid. People get into relationship with their girl. I be hearing them niggas talk about their girl all the time. It's like, yo, she might be the one. Yo, for real though, she might be the one. I've been in those conversations. I've been in those conversations. Now I don't know if they had them with other women, but I've been in those conversations where people just want to get married.
trust me, I'm am I judgmental? Yeah, I'm the judgmental person that looks at a man and be like, why you ain't got no kids, bro? Why you ain't married at 40-something years old? Like, why, you know what I'm saying? You 50-something.
But are you okay with the fact that some people this isn't that, it's not that lifetime for marriage and kids?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying, I'm the judgmental church lady. I'm just wondering, like, why is that person, why,
Do you think that there's different reasons as to why a woman wouldn't end up married with children and a man not ending up married with children?
A lot of women make the choice, and I can't speak for women. I'm just telling you from what I've heard. A lot of women make the choice because they choose their careers. A lot of women have been scorned, right? They've been with a guy and they thought that this guy was the one, and they thought that they were going to get married, and it didn't work out, and so now it's just like fuck men for life, right? And then some are just like, I never wanted to. I've heard that's something I've been, hearing Maya say, and I got a couple other women in my life. They're like, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted kids.
How much courage
I've heard that too. Yeah, usually that's very discouraging. But I said the funny thing is like, I remember like there was two people, and when I was in the Navy, I'm not. There was these two women, a Spanish girl and a black girl, and black woman, excuse me, black woman, she was married. Spanish girl, Spanish woman, excuse me, she was seeing one of my friends that was also on the boat. So like, but I think she might have been single at the time before they got together. But even then, she was the black woman. She was trying to get pregnant with her husband, and and it was just like at that time, like they've been trying, but it's like been a no go. And I know they had paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure they had a conversation about getting kids, and the Spanish girl didn't want kids. And it's funny because I told her, usually the people that don't want kids are usually the ones with kids. And she was like, don't put that she treated me like Ricky Bobby. She said, don't put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby. I'm paraphrasing. I said, I guarantee you're going to have a kid before. And I pointed to the black girl with a husband. I said, before she does. And I was right. She still cusses me out to this day, but she knew I was right because she ended up she ended up having a baby by one of my homeboys and and then like a month or two later, the black woman that was trying, she ended up having a baby, which is like her one and only child right now that's doing gymnastics. She's phenomenal at doing gymnastics too. So shout out to them. But yeah, that shit is funny.
takes a woman to actually admit that out loud? Society judges the shit out of us for that. But going back to men and their wants and their desires and their lack of ability to articulate that. I was having a conversation. I did a panel with 2 Chainz because he has a movie that is based on his life. It's called Red Clay, a short film.
I'm publishing his book next year too. His book is called "The Voice in My Head Is God."
Yes. He told me.
Comes out next year.
He told me. And he's just such a great guy. So in the film, there's a really poignant, pivotal moment towards the end of the film where the protagonist and one of the other guys who's his best friend, they share a moment of intimacy where they're hugging. And it's because one of them has just lost his mom, and it's very tragic. But I was struck by the intimacy of that moment and the expression of intimacy. And I said to the crowd that the first act of violence that the patriarchy commits is not against women; it's against young boys, because it forces them to carve out parts of their humanity because it's seen as feminine. And it's almost like masculinity is not defined by what it means to be a man. It's almost like it's defined by what it means to not be a woman. All of the
I disagree with this wholeheartedly, but I feel like she's coming from a woman's opinion. And I think it's all because it's just like, as men, I feel like as men, we always have to instill toughness on our kid, on our child. Now, I this is like one of those old head things. When I've always been for like, yeah, your child needs to learn how to defend himself, or like he's gonna have to learn how to, like, you gotta toughen your kid up somewhere for the world, because there's gonna be a lot of people dependent on you. This is my opinion. It was like the whole thing about like manning up, and I know a lot of people had a problem with manning up, and I always say manning up is not the problem, because sometimes that is the solution. Like, you gotta, man, like, something is hard, you gotta like fucking tough it out and just go through it. And I know some people, like, even when they having hard times, it's just like, I don't know what to do. It's just like, bro, you gotta brace through it. And it's like, like, people hate that answer because that's the only answer. It's like, I'm doing it right. That's why you hear people like, I'm doing it right now. I'm like, well, keep doing it. I said, it's going to make you a better person out of it. Like, the whole thing about, it's not like stricken things that's feminine. It's just certain things that will make you soft. There's things that, make you soft that people will look at as a weakness. And I feel like sometimes you gotta either hide that weakness, or you have to get rid of it. That's, to me, that's like the beauty of manhood. Like, sometimes your friends could see that you may be lacking in this area. We, as oh shoot, um, as men, we are lacking in this area. We, as men, sometimes we will see that and weed that out until you either turn that weakness into a strength, or you just hide that weakness. But mostly, a lot of the things is we're turning our weaknesses into strength. And I feel like sometimes women don't understand that. That's why it's kind of like so hard on men, because you sometimes you do gotta see that shit. Sometimes you gotta see that shit through, my boy. Like, a lot of those, things where you say, God damn, got to see it through, my boy. It's like, that is the answer. Man up. That is the answer. Just tough that shit out. That is the answer. Like, a lot of dudes don't like hearing that, but that is the answer sometimes. And again, it's not trying to take things that makes you feel feminine. It's just, things that, we will look at as a weakness. And like, we need to exercise that soft ass demon and some shit like that. Like, which is like, some people are rough with it. Some people know how to do it without demeaning you. I feel like there's ways to instill toughness without demeaning the motherfucker. Or like, the military is the military, because the military is the ultimate test. And someone that went through the military is just like, Yeah, is they gonna see something uh you either brace it or you let it break you. So I don't know. That's the way I look at it.
Things that can be seen as feminine are villainized. So you can't acknowledge those parts of yourself. When any indigenous person will tell you that the divine is masculine and feminine and acceptance of both. Those are the healthiest people that.
Those are the ingredients that make us.
Exactly.
It's a man and a woman.
Exactly. So I feel like that's part of the problem that men experience later on in life is this, they have this innate, almost like primal desire to want to acknowledge the feminine parts of themselves that they tried to kill off so long ago because society said they had to. And they also understand in order, like, if they could connect to those parts, they'd probably have an easier time truly connecting with women.
Maybe we shouldn't label those parts. Maybe we shouldn't label a hug.
I agree with that.
Maybe we shouldn't label a hug.
I'm gonna run through it one more time, just so I make sure I get it correctly before I respond.
That's part of the problem that men experience later on in life is this, they have this innate, almost like primal desire to want to acknowledge the feminine parts of themselves that they tried to kill off so long ago because society said they had to. And they also understand in order, like, if they could connect to those parts, they'd probably have an easier time truly connecting with women.
Now, this is one of those things where it's just like what? And like, although I applaud Charlamagne for like explaining things because I think he's going to explain to it, but also things like what? This is where I would be like what? Because I don't think she understands how men deal with shit. And again, it's not that we're killing off things that makes us feminine. I think we're killing off things that makes us soft. Now the problem I've always said is okay, when we kill off the shit, do we have time to sit down and recollect what we just did? And I don't think we do. And I think that is the problem. It's like, okay, you're telling me to man up. You're telling me to toughen up. What did you learn from it? Do you understand why I told you? Why do you feel like that shit is making you weak? Do you understand you sit down? I feel like as men, like we do all these trials and tribulations, and we get through shit, and then we're just on to the next one. We're not sitting there and recapping. And I done said this before. It's just not the fact that we're just still to be tough. We're not just sitting there, and when we get to an obstacle, we're not sitting there and recapping the shit. Like, for example, winning the championship, right? If you win it, let's say you win an NBA championship, you've seen it. Michael Jordan, you win the championship, and nigga, he's crying because he sit there and it's like all my talk, all the toughness, all the hard work. I'm getting beat up. People putting rules for me, the Jordan rules. People getting knocked down, and I finally get to the finals, and I win my first title. He was able to recollect and recap everything that he went through throughout that season. And I feel like sometimes as men, we have to do that as well. And sometimes we got to sit there and just, damn, all right, what could I do better here? And it's just like, and then, you look at game tape or you have game tape of yourself. It's just like, okay, that right there, I could have handled that better. Like this right here, I probably, I felt like I was good, but I probably could have handled that to a point to where that is better. And I feel like that's what's missing. The debrief. Sometimes we need to debrief with ourselves. We need to recollect what we just did and how we got here and how we could be better. Let's get on.
Maybe we shouldn't label those parts. Maybe we shouldn't label a hug.
I agree with that.
Maybe we shouldn't label a hug as feminine. You know what I mean? Because I done seen, people die and, somebody get the news that the person dies and
I don't, okay, not to cut them off, but I don't think hugging has ever been feminine because niggas hug each other all the fucking time. I've seen niggas dap each other up. I seen niggas. First Montana and fucking Max B just got out of prison. For those that don't know, right? Wave God just got out of prison. First thing you see is him and Fresh Montana. You know what he did? They hugged for a while. So this whole, and this is what I mean by like niggas, like we have different ways of like, especially if we're cool with each other. We have ways of being close. Like I seen niggas going in the clubs and they putting their arms around each other and they singing their favorite rap songs and some shit like that. Like we like, sometimes we go through shit with each other and then we just put our arms around each other like, yo, it's gonna be good. We good. Like we good, my nigga. Like we do it all the fucking time. I just don't think people noticing it. But I always say this because this is the fight I have. Because people's like men aren't emotional. I was like, yes, the fuck we are. It was men don't really hug enough. Yes, we do. I don't. It's like, do you see when niggas dap each other up and then they embrace each other, even as a handshake, but a dap up of a fist bump? It's just like that's men embracing each other. Like, especially with black people. Black people, we know. You got to be at least a hand. If I don't know you, I don't fuck with you like that. Show the length. I shouldn't be able to touch you. But when you start getting cool with each other, niggas is just like they're in their grip. Let me see. Hold on. Loaded Lux.
Let's push the YouTube side live. That should be good.
I don't get caught up in stuff like road rage.
Loaded Lux.
I'm gonna throw away my Did he try to?
God damn it. Murder Mook. Where's the joint where they was sharing a drink? This one.
Oh, man. There you go.
I didn't know how good this really could rhyme.
All you is big punches and hate.
There was a joint, hip hop is real. When I'm trying to look for it right now, hopefully I find it. It was in the shorts, I think. This might be tough to find when motherfucker Lux and Mook embracing each other. And hopefully I find it. Because it was hopefully I'm sorry. I know I'm getting distracted. God damn it. I'm just everywhere today.
Hey, shoulda did he do it? Did he do it? Did he do it? Did he? Man. I mean, a lot of you niggas, I just say a lot of niggas owe. Niggas owe? What the fuck? Niggas owing? Nigga, I put the best up. Yeah, niggas owing. Niggas owing? Oh, bro, man. You know I love you. Good for love, King. I'm so proud of you. Absolutely. Nigga. Keep bringing honor to the household, my bro. Yes, sir. Keep bringing honor to the household. You know it. I'll wait. You know it. Oh, man, we up top.
Was that not an embrace? I'm sorry for y'all. I'm sorry it took me so long, but yeah, was that not an embrace? Let's go. Hold on. Let's go back. Is that not two bros embracing each other? Because Boop beat Hitman and Lux beat Twerk, right? So would y'all not consider this? And they've known each other for at least 20 years. They both from Harlem. They both battle rap legends. These are two battle rappers, two street niggas, right? Embrace it. I've seen niggas do this shit all the fucking time. And this is what I mean when I tell people it's just, oh, the men don't be, y'all don't pay attention to men. Because men be embracing this shit. This shit ain't homo. This is two men celebrating their win. Niggas that done had their backs and all that other shit. Right? We do shit like men do shit. Like I said, I've been in, especially if like you done been in the field with your mans and like, or your best friend growing up and all that other stuff. Shit like this happens all the fucking time. They go, I love you, bro. I love you too. It's just like, and it's just, this happens so much that some women get jealous of this and they will consider this gay. And it's just like, nah, man, nah, me and my nigga, we don't embrace each other. It got to a point where it's just like some women will look at this and they'll get jealous and say, "Nigga, this shit gay," and then you got to look at them and like, "Oh, that was shit gay." But nah, but this is two men embracing each other after they celebrate it. Oh wait, let's celebrate Bournemouth win against Arsenal against Winter. Oh, this was Arsenal. I thought this was like Hitman, but either way, the point still stands. This is them celebrating their win. Because Mook did beat Hitman. And I gotta talk to my man Q about it. We were supposed to have a Q&A about that shit, but same shit. Back to the shit.
You know what I mean? Or like, I read a story the other day where this young lady held a door. Trust that we not gonna go crazy. I don't know none of these.
Source. I don't have anything to give to anybody right now because I'm still receiving.
I understand.
And that's literally it. Like I have hope or a belief that there's the imperfectly perfect one out there for me. The source knows. I don't. I trust that they've
I'm just gonna say this. I think her time has passed. I think she's like that person on a rock waiting for God to save her. And God gave you a yacht, a boat, and a helicopter, and you didn't take neither of those. I think she's that person on the rock, and then she's just drowning. She's just going to drown. And I say, and again, I am a Melyssa for a sip, but I think, like, yeah, never say never. But I will say this: I think she's not going to find what she's looking for. That's all I will say. That.
Got my best interests. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that I put a whole lot of importance on that. And I'll tell you why. I think that after a certain age, read perimenopause, women start to really take stock of their life. And I think also in this decade of life, the 40s, you really start to think about the meaning of life and also how meaningful your life is, and changes that you want to make because also you're thinking about legacy and, and just what impact or what what mark you want to leave on people, the world, whatever the case is. But I think what also happens to women at this point in time, because we are conditioned to be such people pleasers, and conditioned to center men,
each other. Because trust me, I'm
against women. It's against young boys because it forces them to carve,
fall into. You know what I mean? So I think maybe we should stop labeling things like that.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the whole, accusation of being homosexual from Dame, and me talking about what intimacy is. That intimacy, they didn't slob each other down. They hugged each other.
Yeah.
And it was...
Slobbing each other down would definitely be gay. But if you did that publicly, clearly you don't care.
Exactly, yeah. But the whole point is, what I've realized is that through this lack of being able to connect to those parts, whatever you want to call them. We'll call them, just for the sake of argument right now, the feminine parts of yourself. You rob yourself of understanding what intimacy actually is. Absolutely. What I have experienced a lot in my life, and I know that a lot of women have experienced this, is men trying to create a false sense of intimacy. The only problem with that is that women are very, very, very good at understanding what intimacy is, because we are intimate with each other. We understand that intimacy is literally like, yo, this ponytail is killing me. I sit down in front of my girl. She takes my ponytail out of my head and then starts to massage my head. And it doesn't mean anything other than that's my friend showing me comfort in an intimate manner. And it's permissible because we're women.
Now, I've already showed the Loaded Lux Murdermook embracing each other. We don't have to go through that again. But again, I feel like, again, this is where I get to say that she doesn't understand men. But I also thinking like she wants men to show it. I feel like a lot of women want men to show the type of connection or intimacy that you would give to a woman. Like, bear with me when I say this, because she's talking about, oh, um, her head hurt. She's taking the ponytail out and massaging it. Okay, that's the type of shit you do to another woman. I said, male's probably like, I'm punching in your chest, call you fuckface. I've seen white people do this all the time. What's up, fuckface? And they're the best of friends. Here's the thing about it's like the whole thing about women knowing intimacy more than men. I've seen y'all call women, especially when y'all call yourself girls. Y'all always say, "Oh, that's my bestie. That's my girls, and all that other stuff." And then a week later, fuck that bitch. I've never seen Meanwhile, men call each other fuckface. We curse each other out. We a couple of us even had squabbles, and we're still friends 20 years from now. 50, like a couple, I'm still friends with people I've had since third grade. I'm still friends with people that I've had since high school. Me, Shining Wolf, that's been on the show. Motherfucker been friends for since high school. Me and Father. I've known Father since I went to AI. We still cool. And that's been 10 years. And I've been in Discord with some people that I've been friends with for over 10 years. We still cool. And you talking about men don't understand this? This is what I mean by saying you women don't understand, especially Melyssa Ford. You don't understand. But I think y'all look at intimacy the way women look at intimacy. Y'all not asking yourself, how does men look at intimacy? And that is maybe calling someone fuckface. But you really you got his motherfucking back. Maybe it's you punching that man in his chest or in his arms or some shit like that. Just to toughen him up. We gonna express we express it differently. Let's keep it going.
And it makes me think, I've thought long and hard. That actually happened several months ago with one of my girlfriends. And it made me think and feel so sad for men, because society has conditioned you guys to feel like you cannot show any level of intimacy to another human being, whether it be a woman, whether it be a man, whether it be somebody who identifies as non-binary, the gender spectrum, it doesn't matter. But it's just that's why a lot of times intimacy is manufactured, because men don't really kind of understand what it actually.
Before Charlamagne talks, and again, proving my point, right? And let me tell you something. And I'm gonna tell you something about myself. I don't know how many times I done like strangers. This just happened to me the other day. Dude, I was waiting at the bus station. Dude was on the phone with another chick, trying to get a ride. And he was like, yo, whatever that person give you for gas money, I'll double it. And he was saying that over the phone, right? Trying to get a ride and all that stuff because he just really wanted to go home or something. So the girl, obviously, the girl didn't want to pick him up. He was kind of blown about that. The nigga started talking to me about it. And you know what I did? I took my headphones out and I started listening to him. It was another time. Another time on a bus, and I'm telling you, like this, and I'm telling you, people tell me shit all the fucking time. It's just like I'm telling you, like for some reason, people just look at me and just want to tell me their life stories. It's happened so many fucking times. I'm not even holding. This dude get off and I'm on the metro going to work. This dude, he on the phone with somebody, and he has great news. The man looks at me and talk about, bro, I get to work inside the city instead of like taking an Uber. So, and I'm paraphrasing, but because he's like every job he done had, he had to go take an Uber somewhere, and it cost him money. He was like, bro, I finally get to work on a job inside DC where I don't have to take an Uber. I can just walk there, and he was just so excited about that. And you know what I did? I sat there and listened, and after he done, I was like, bro, congratulations. I hope that shit go well. He like, thanks, bro. Like he was so excited to tell me about that, and I'm just a random shit. He don't know me from shit, but yet he told me this. Like, this is like that shit wasn't manufactured. That nigga was happy. So what do you? So it's just like, where do you get this thought from? Where do you get these thoughts from? It's just like, even then, it's just like I've had dudes and military. If I'd have told you some of the most interesting talks and conversations I've had is me showering with other men, pause, y'all would think that's weird. But these men, and all races, black, white, Asian, Latino, talking about their families. I done been in showers with men and they're talking about their wives. He's like, bro, I miss my wife. And this is the military. And it's just like, I've had people on Sundays, they cry. I'm watching men cry because they miss their family because we're out in Great Lakes, Illinois, in boot camp, and motherfuckers missing their family. And I tell people it's around the third week. It's just like we all sat there, all 88 of us, or what was left of us, and we said that we always had this big ass conversation with each other right when our petty officers leave, and this was like after taps. Um, but and we're all talking to each other. And I remember one dude said, "Bro, we out here now. You're like, I miss my family too, but we out here for a reason. And so we need to, because we was kind of like, we was some knuckleheads. We was fucking up a lot. But it's just like, bro, like, we got to be better. We got to do better. We got to push each other. We got to do all that other stuff. Those men push me, and I push them, and like I needed to push. I'm not gonna hold you because I wasn't in shape, and it kind of like boot camp kind of like got me in shape and all that other stuff. But um, I'll tell that sooner or later. I'll tell that story. But let's just say I've had a lot of male camaraderie with men, and none of that shit was manufactured. This is like one of the times it was just like I want to have a drink with you, or it's just like when they realized I was a virgin, it was just like, yo, you gonna come party with me? I'm gonna make sure we get all the bitches around you. And this was because I was a virgin going into the Navy. I don't have a problem telling people that, but but like niggas was looking out for me, and I was looking out for them. And like niggas was telling me stories about their family and all that other stuff. Like I've heard like the stories I couldn't at least remember, and the connections I done had with a lot of people when they was there. It's just like that is not, none of that shit is manufactured. So again, she don't understand men, and I don't think she cares to understand men. And to me, this part right here is what I feel like I feel like people should really focus on her not understanding men.
I don't think we should use the word intimacy.
I love the word intimacy.
I think intimacy is for men, and women are people who are in a romantic relationship.
No.
I think that connection is what we should be striving for. And I tell you what, like going to the barber is a connection, right? Like you and your barber's cutting your hair, you know, your barber's doing a great job, he's putting a hot towel on you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like some barbers will take the this is gonna sound crazy. Takes a little vibrating thing and rubs it on your face, like you know what I mean. Like that's a level of connection. And then you and the barber are talking. You and the barber might have like real intimate conversation. When guys get together and play video games, when they sitting in their house with them headsets on, and it's just them two. That's why Black Mirror was able to make a whole freaking episode called Striking Vipers. That led to gay, but I'm just saying it didn't have to lead to gay. It could have just been those two sharing that connectivity amongst each other. Yo. Something like getting in a cipher and passing a blunt back and forth. That's the level of connectivity that men have with each other. Working out, like, you know what I'm saying? You and your homeboy working out, and that's your partner, and you pushing them, you know, to do the best they can in the gym. I think the word we're looking for is connection, connectivity. I don't think men don't have to be intimate with each other. Like, intimate.
I'm learning.
Yeah, intimate is to me is when you're in a romantic relationship with somebody. Like,
but I think that that's the thing.
I feel like if Joe Budden would have said the same shit, she wouldn't have listened. But the fact that Charlamagne said it, and this is where I give credit to Charlamagne, because I feel like Charlamagne broke it down to her where she could understand that. I'm sorry. I felt like Charlamagne broke it down to where she could understand that, to where she just sit there and listen to her. She goes, "Oh, I'm learning." Because, like you said, he broke it down. It's just like, well, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't call it intimacy, but it is a connection. There is a connection there, and he gave great examples. Working out, going to a barber, hell, even passing a blunt, and sharing stories and shit. Um, like to me, like I said, I give Charlamagne all the credit for that because I feel like he broke it to a point where she could listen to it. I feel like Charlamagne's the only person that could probably get through well because, like I said, if this was on the Joe Budden podcast, I don't think she would have listened.
To me is when you're in a romantic relationship with somebody. Like,
but I think that that's the thing. I mean, I think that when it comes to, you know, words matter, and our vocabulary has expanded so much just to, you know, in so many different facets of conversation. But I think that there needs to be like an expansion of understanding about that word intimacy in order for, I don't know, for radical change to happen between men and their own sense of radical self-acceptance, improvement within their, you know, group structures, and also their relationships with women.
Our men should be able to admit that we need human connection from other men. Like there's
Yes.
men say we got our man caves, and you know, you and your boys get together to watch a football game, and you know, drink some bit. That's human connection. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, those are, I hate that word when you know, but I guess intimate, that is an intimate experience, right? Like if you bring somebody into your man cave,
Yeah.
and it's just you and the guy, and y'all sitting around watching the game, and y'all sharing conversations, and y'all feel good because when you leave, you're like, man, I'm glad I was able to tell my homeboy that, and I'm glad I was able to share that with my homeboy. That is a level of intimacy. I just think that word intimacy, you think about it and you think about romantic relationships. Like, I'm not going around saying, yeah, man, you know, me and my homeboy had an intimate drive the other day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we shared an intimate moment while driving. Like, that's not how we're talking, but I will say we had a connection. Like, I like connecting with my homies.
Yeah.
I think that's the word we looking for.
One of the
Again, I'm gonna give Charlamagne his props right here because you look at the body language as he's explaining. She's sitting there, she's actually soaking it in, and you could tell she's like not really defensive, but Even though she has her arms crossed, it's not really like to respond, but it's just like, okay, I'm sit, I'm listening, I'm listening. You know, the shit is kicking in. Okay, I see where you coming from. Like look at her body. Like she got her feet up. She's kicking up. She's relaxed. She's and this is just me going off of body language as you expect, because this is a conversation. It's not really a debate. This is a conversation that you're having. So, and they're not attacking each other, but he's just like giving her another way to think about things. Way maybe you should thinking about this here. I feel like if this was on the Joe Budden podcast, she would definitely be on the defensive and like try and maybe not really hear them out as well. But again, Charlemagne is, I think, really good at, and it's probably because he hangs around with a lot of women, in which I've always said this is the one thing I always disagree with Red Pill. I think you should have women friends, because I feel like a lot of men don't know, and this is what I do admit: a lot of men don't know how to talk to women platonically, and then once you, it's just like, and some women just like they don't know how to be. It's not that we don't know how to be friends. It's just like when you look at something past sex, this is like, what do you have to offer? And I feel like a lot of men feel like women don't have nothing to offer. They feel like women give bad advice, yada yada yada. We see men look at other women, and sometimes the way y'all have friends with other women, y'all be like girls, and like I said, y'all be besties for a week. The next week, y'all fighting over something stupid. Now, I have a lot of I have a as a man with a lot of female friends. I talk to him a lot. Even if I am attracted to him, I talk to him a lot, and I give him all the respect that I give. And we done have some deep ass conversations like this. I think there is benefit in having women friends, because sometimes you do need a woman's opinion about things. I give Crystal her flowers all the fucking time. She knows this, and I tell her this all the time. There's times where like we over there Facebook messaging each other. I show her some stuff, and we're giving each other like 5 minute messages, and she just running shit down, and I'm running things back to her. We have the back and forth like that. I appreciate those because I think Crystal is very smart, very intelligent, and she's very wise in what the fuck she's saying. Like I can listen to her, and I told her I can listen to you talk all day because I feel like you have a very great insight on the world. That's why I like having her on the podcast. This is like her getting her on the podcast. I was just excited, and so was Fada. Like we was both excited. It's just like it's like a wrestler coming back and you just mark it out. It's like yeah, it felt like that.
With my homies.
Yeah.
I think that's the word we looking for.
One of the things I thought to myself about, men and a lack of ability to feel like empathy, or like innately feel it, like it being like an automatic reaction to something, is because a lot of men did not grow up as boys reading fictional books. And I'm not talking about like sci-fi or anything like that, or like, whatever, comic books or maybe even anime. I shouldn't be prejudiced because I didn't read that stuff. But what fictional books teach us is, there's a protagonist, and it teaches us to put ourselves in other people's shoes, walk, through their lives, experience what they're experiencing, even though it's something maybe completely different from what we experience in our own daily lives. And through that, we kind of develop a sense of empathy. Would you say that that's a thing or no?
Anime is okay. I want to say this. Maybe not with books, but definitely with comic books. If you ever hear nerds talk about it, even then, like shows like The Wire, like I've heard people break down The Wire to a point to where it's just like showing empathy. But let's just go with like nerd culture, DBZ. If you have you ever heard some of the think pieces about DBZ and about showing empathy, or like the whole thing about Gohan and when he's fighting Cell? You know how many think pieces is about Gohan fighting Cell? The whole many think pieces about Goku. Is he a bad father or not? Is Piccolo the real dad? What about Vegeta and his pride? It's just like we have those stories. We have those stories in comic books. Spider Man is probably one of the most relatable superhero ever. Batman maybe second. It's a Batman may be a billionaire, but like we get our morals and thoughts and empathies from it. The thing with men is just like we also understand there's consequences to their actions. And a lot of you women is just like even if the woman is in the wrong, you're just like you're trying to like so, but they could have just now. Granted, men we do it too, but again, like let's say the whole Diddy shit. Diddy was foul for what he did. And I know a lot of people, but this shit. When you heard the more the shit about Cassie, people was just looking at that like, "Yo, Cassie ain't that innocent as much as you think." And that's what a lot of people were saying because we was listening to her stories, and it was like, okay, I do feel sorry for you because you was motherfucking Diddy shouldn't have kicked you like that, and it was like Diddy guilty for what he fucking did. And even though a lot of people knew Diddy was like he was a weirdo, so it's just like you're still fucking with that weirdo. So it's just like, oh no, it's just like, are they really? This is why, like, when you say these victims, are they really? And we're looking at them, are they really victims? Because they seem like they was cool with it, they was going along with it, and it's because like now you may be regretting, but you was going along with it then. Were they really victims, or you just trying to get a come up off of them? Again, I'm not defending Diddy, but that's how most men look at it because we're looking at the whole scale of view. It's like and this is the problem we have. It's like I would show you empathy, but also you're showing that you enjoying this shit too. It's just like, oh no, you're just as bad. He may be worse. And this is the thing about Diddy, because no one was really defending Diddy. We all knew Diddy did it, but it was also you're just as bad as because you was participating with him. And like you've heard the stories with Cassie, it's just like, oh shit, she was setting some of this shit up. Oh, it's yeah, this man's a freak, but you a freak too. You like what? You did what? And yeah, she may be a victim, but she was also along with the ride. So half the time she sounded like she was also along with the ride. So it's just like, are you really a victim? Are you really, so people gonna say Stockholm syndrome and all that other stuff, but it's just like, again, Diddy got what he deserved. I'm not defending Diddy, but a lot of people is going to look at that story weird now, just because of how it was going on. But let's go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a thing. I mean, one of the greatest things my mom told me, because she was an English teacher, so she used to always tell me to read things that didn't pertain to me. And that curiosity that she instilled in me that caused me to just pick up so much different literature that had nothing to do with me, right? That's what led me to read so much Judy Blume and so much Beverly Clearly, because these stories were about these little white girls and these little white boys. We weren't that. So I would read about these people, but that level of curiosity transcended from literature to just people. And I think when you have conversations, right? Like if I have a conversation with you, like instead of just, and I'm going back to the bear example. If I'm on social media and if I'm looking at these women and they're having a conversation about feeling safer around bears, all right, I need to see what the fuck's going on. Like I need to have a conversation with a woman I know. I don't want to talk to a bot in the comments. If I see a woman I know in these comments and they say they feel safe around a bear, I want to have a conversation with that individual because then maybe I'll get a better understanding of why women feel this way. And I think that's something that we don't do. We stay in our bubbles, we stay in our communities, and we don't have conversations with people about things that don't necessarily pertain to us.
I agree with him on that, and this is why, like, I try to talk to many people. Like, I talk to even people that I don't have the same views with. I want to get your different opinions, and I like usually when things like this, I want to ask like different women. So maybe I'll ask 10 different women. They'll give me 10 different opinions, and I'll even ask other people like their opinions. What is your opinions on this? And I'm trying to decipher because sometimes you do got to go outside your bubble. Maybe I'm missing something. Why are they saying this? Because even in the whole bear thing, I was like, why are they saying this? Why would you rather be with the bear? And it had to do with sexual assault, and it's just like, although I don't like the answer that I get, and it's like part of it. It's one of those things where I get it. It's like I get it, but it's just that I think people just rather accept you know, it goes in the whole saying of some things are worse. Some fates are worse than death, especially if it's a quick death. It's just that's all it is a quick death. But I know some people that living with stuff is just like they would rather die. I die. You've heard the thing. I die before I go through this shit. I die before I have to live through that shit. And some people have. You know, before I kill myself. People say I killed myself before I would ever deal with shit like this. And it goes beyond that. So that part I do get. But at the same time, as men, it's just like I've never raped a woman in my life. I've never sexually assaulted a woman in my life. I've created safe spaces for women. Why am I getting chastised for someone that never did? And it's just like you can check my records. Because I understand a lot of people say, oh, they all sound clean, they all sound legit. And then you realize, yeah, I understand. Yeah, some people have fucking freaky ass lives, but I'm real legit with my shit. And here's the thing: it's just like don't put me in his shit because me and him are different. And I feel like that's what her man is. It's just like no, 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 no. You a fuck nigga. And I say this is like if a nigga, you a fuck nigga to somebody here, it's okay. You a fuck nigga. I'm never going to empathize with a fuck nigga because he's a fuck nigga. And I say that too. It's just like I don't do that shit. That's why you hear things. It's just like, oh, this bad did this shit. It's just like, nigga, I don't even do that shit. I say that all the time. It's like I don't hang out with niggas that do that shit. I said my peoples, we good, and if they did do that, we check them because I don't condone that shit, and I don't want people around me that do that shit. Let's get it.
And I think if we did, we'd have more empathy towards everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I was recently, did my first hot and bothered retreat in the jungles of Mexico.
Wow. How'd that go?
Saw a lot of tarantulas. There was a scorpion in my room. I am a Scorpio, so I kind of felt like that was like, source trying to tell me something. Snakes were there. I mean, it was wonderful. Honestly, it was wonderful. It was transformative. I understand that this is something that is going to be a part of my journey, a part of my brand. There was experiences that I witnessed other people having, girlfriends of mine that I'd invited to participate in this. And I was like, this is what I want for so many people. I want this moment or this experience of, personal evolution, growth, the feeling of being able to finally put the bags down, the emotional baggage and whatever else, to truly understand what it means to let go of what no longer serves you. There's so many phrases that are just like really arbitrary until it smacks you in the face and you experience it and you're like, yo, that hits, And so what also got me thinking was women are easy to attract to go to these kinds of retreats. Men, not so much. And so I started to write, stream of consciousness, just thoughts and stuff like that, observations about men, just trying to figure out how I can create almost like a program, a syllabus, something so that men would find it attractive to want to go for their own, purposes, of healing and stuff like that.
It's good. Talk to me about that because
Before he gets to that, and I'm gonna tell you what, tell you why, because this gonna sound. This is my opinion. You can agree or disagree. We all do agree or disagree. But most men's problems are solved by either getting laid or having a good woman on their side. If you ever like, I know a lot of people like think this is just very immature or brash to think about, but I want you to think about this because a bunch of old school people, men and women, when they see somebody like real frustrated or they real angry or feel like they mad in the world, he's just that nigga just need a woman. I don't know how many times where I've seen a man like he just crashing out on something like that, and a woman just goes by and calms him down, and that nigga just chill. I've said this. I've seen where two dudes fight, and a woman with a fat ass just walk by, and they just forget what they've been fighting for. Now, and it's just like sometimes you just need a woman, or you need to get laid. I know some men that get frustrated after they get laid. It's just like, damn, I don't even know what the fuck I'm mad for. Most of the reason, even when it comes to like therapy, is just like a lot of people, a lot of old heads. It's just like you don't need therapy. You just need a woman. Because, in my opinion, and I say this all the time, a woman will solve a lot of your answers. A woman will calm you down, especially the right woman that knows how to deal with you. Now, the thing is with men, and I say this with men, once you have that good woman with it, you got to know how to keep her. You got to know how to keep her happy. You got to know how to keep her doing this, which is why I believe in reciprocating energy. Because sometimes a woman does give you all this strength, and y'all drain the fuck out of her, and y'all don't do nothing to put anything back into her. And a lot of men think that just protecting and providing, putting a house over your head, but sometimes that is not enough. Your woman has to keep your woman, especially if your woman does keep that place a home. Because, like I said, a woman makes a house a home. And sometimes you got to look at your woman's skills like, yo, holding the house down, hold the kids down, and, let me take some of that burden off of you. I got time. Let the kids go with me. Go get a spa day. You know, your woman wants to go on a vacation. Take your woman on a vacation. Your woman wants to do one thing. I see my grandparents do all the fucking time, and like I said, my grandfather loves my grandmother. They go on vacations. They go on cruises. They're spending their time on cruises. They come back. They travel everywhere with each other. Like they're not just and yet they're still together. But they're always going somewhere. They're reciprocating each other's energy. And like I said, so honestly, like it's cool to be a provider and like take care of the house and all that other stuff, but also your woman does make the house a home, especially if she's doing all this stuff. Reward her sometime. Go on a shopping spree. Maybe she wants something. Buy her something that she wants. Give her a meat. Matter of fact, just say, hey, this one day, just like, you know what? Take the day off. Or, matter of fact, go do what you want to do. I got the kids. We gonna go over here. You go relax. Let them relax. I feel like reciprocating, this is why I say like reciprocating energy is important to both people because sometimes a woman does do stuff for men that help them out and it probably is draining energy. Now again, a woman makes a house a home, but if she doesn't feel like it's the home she is, she's going to feel like a prison. And I think this is why like a lot of women kind of divorce because it's just like at first you're not reciprocating. I think that's one of the reasons. Just like you're not reciprocating the energy or some shit like that. What you was doing, you're not doing no more. And sometimes you got to pay attention to your woman. Like pay attention. Like anytime when you do something successful in your life, or when you like, let's say you get a promotion, the first person you need to treat, in my opinion, is your woman. Let her and just say, baby, like if it wasn't for you, I probably would, you holding it down, all that stuff. I'll be able to work on my legacy for all this stuff. You taking care of the kids. I appreciate you. Hell, even that works. But, to me, that's reciprocating energy.
That is something that me and a lot of brothers have been talking about because Sarah Jakes Roberts has her Woman Evolve, and I've seen so many different retreats like you just did with Hot and Bothered, and that's something that we were thinking about as men. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard to wrap my brain around, even though I know it's necessary and it's just a selfish reason. I like going home to a woman. So if I gotta go away somewhere with a weekend with a bunch of guys, even though I know it's for, a great intention and we helping these brothers evolve. At the end of the night, I still need my wife on the resort somewhere so I can go be with her.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? He takes his wife places. He makes sure his wife is good. Reciprocating the energy. Like, I don't even remember that part, but the fact that he said that proves my point. And that's what I'm talking about. Is when sometimes you need to reciprocate that energy to your woman. And she will appreciate that. He's still married to this day to the same woman. So, there you go.
Because by and large, I don't want to speak for all women, but what I witnessed, that's not the reaction that they had. I think that women we develop such strong bonds with each other that literally, like, we can hear and understand when something is off with our friends, and we rally in a way that I've never witnessed men doing. So one of the things that I wrote, you guys are going to hear my stream of consciousness, said men have a very finite way of interacting with each other. Their bonding rituals are usually seem to be based in limited interests. And a lot of that, and a lot of the conversation and interest revolve around conquest and acquisition. And in that way, I feel like that creates your own limitations. The limitations for yourself and your self-expression, but also the limitation of presenting what the world will then expect from you. That's why men seem to be all up in arms about, like, well, I'm expected to be this provider. I'm expected to be this protector. And I'm like, the vast majority of you are not listening to women, because that's not what they know that's not by and large what women are even looking for.
She's bullshitting, and you know this. Because if you ever go on Kendra G's channel, a lot of them say what the fuck they want. A lot of them do want a provider. A lot of them do want a man to make money. And then you ask them, like, she's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm definitely calling bullshit. Because even some of the women is like, even if they're getting money themselves, they want a man that wants to to match them or make more than them. Preferably make more than them. It's just like, I can't be, because if that's the case, because a lot of them women say, I can't be with no broke nigga. I can't take care of no grown ass man. That's bullshit, and you know this. Like, even like even some of you women say you need to. It started with, you need to have the job just to get with me. Now a nigga need to do. He has to have a height requirement. Y'all done seen pop the balloons. Y'all done seen women pop the balloon off of some of the most ridiculous things because they have these standards. You were bullshit, Miss Melyssa Ford. You were bullshit. Like, we have these conversations all the fucking time. It's just, oh, women want this and this and this and this, and then the women tell you they want this, this, and this, and this. And I'm not just hood rats, not just ratchets. I've heard business women say this. I've heard moguls say this. I've heard um broke women say this. I've heard overweight women say this. I've heard motherfuckers that don't have a dime to their fucking name and have multiple kids and living off of sexual aid centers. I've heard every type of woman say this shit. So yes, you are bullshitting off, and this is again proving my point. She don't really understand men, and now she's really proving my point that she don't care to understand men. But it's just what she's thinking. It's off of conquest. It's just like, oh, a lot of women don't want that. Excuse you? The fuck out of here. Am I saying all women don't want this? But I swear, even the ones y'all call pick-me's, it's like, even they don't want no dusty ass nigga. It's like, okay, I don't want no dusty ass nigga either. It's like, even like, was it Sarah Fontenot, Dr. Fontenot, and all that other stuff? Like, she advocates for men, but if you heard what the fuck she wants, it's just like, damn, so you just as delusional and it's just as superficial as the women that talk about. So yeah, it's just. And even then, I would ask her, "What do you like?" And then the question I would ask Melyssa for is, "So what do you want in the man? What do you want? What do you want in the man?" Because sometimes even men, we ask this too. What do you want in a man? And this is why conversations were so prevalent because a lot of women didn't really. Sometimes a lot of you women don't really know what you want in a man. You like the idea of man. You don't really like men. You like the idea of men, or what you think your man should be, or what you. And some women don't even have their own idea of men. They're copying off of other people's idea of man. And it's like, okay, that sounds good. I'll take that. Oh, this sounds really good. Oh yeah, let me pick that. Oh yeah, yeah. 6 figures, yeah. Over 6 foot, have a six pack, yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, some 5'9" guy that works 80K is not good enough. But that nigga need to make over 100K. Or this nigga make over 100K, but he's like 5'9", and it's just like, oh, he's short. And how tall are you? 4'11". You want 4'11" off of Section 8, and you let me stop. Let me stop. But yeah, she bullshit.
Like the women of my ilk and the women that I'm listening to, they're like, we've been providing for ourselves for a really long time. I'm looking for partnership. That's the P I'm looking for. Looking for that P and that P.
Yeah, I got my.
And I think women like those, okay. Do you want to now with that? Then this is why I asked this question because it's not just her. It's women like Ebony K. Williams, who she was on the last joint I fucking did with me and B, and this is what me and B had a fucking whole debate about. It was just like, do you want a man? And I'm gonna say this: do you want a man to lead? And if you want a man to lead, then he's going to have to basically define and say so if you want the man to lead. But I think a lot of women do want partnership. I don't think. Excuse me. I don't think women want leaders, especially in this day, modern day. I don't think women want leaders. I think they want partnership. But they're always going to say a provider or a leader, stuff like that. But I think they want men to provide. I think men provide, but they still only listen to the women, some shit like that. And the thing was, and I think Melyssa Ford and I think FBK Williams is the same thing. I think they want to be the star of the show. I said this about FDK Williams. FDK Williams' problem is she wants to be the star of the show because she doesn't have, and Melyssa Ford too. She doesn't have niggas that make more than her, and all that stuff. But I think what you really want is someone that lets you become the star of the show. Like they don't care about your money, but they know that you make more money than them, so they're gonna let you become the star of the show. And how can I say this? You don't want those type of men because you feel like you're gonna run over, which you probably would. But I feel like there's dudes that let you become a star of the show, and it's just like, but they don't care because they just want to see you happy. But I feel like a lot of y'all feel like, I think a women will when they don't want that man. I can speak. Women don't want that man because they feel like they will run over that type of man because to them that type of man is soft and he's not a leader. So yeah, I'm calling cap.
My homegirl Cuppy, she says, you can't give me dick, I don't want it. You can't give me money, I don't need it. I want the partnership. Mm-hmm. But I will add one thing to that. I had to think about when you said conquest and acquisition. The acquisition part, definitely, because men tend to come together for business, right? Mm-hmm. But man, a lot of times men just want to relax. Like, sometimes you just want to kick it with your homies, have a drink, smoke some weed, play some video games, just kick it and talk. Like, I think a lot of times everybody wants to let their guard down. And the reason I keep saying humans, because I don't think men and women are that far apart on anything. We all just want to let our guard down. And I think that is the most powerful thing any human can provide you, a safe space to just let your guard down. So if you got those homies to where, man, you ain't tripping off nothing, you know this person ain't jealous of you, you know this person ain't envious of you, you and this person can just talk about, whatever it is that y'all got going on, that is great. You know what I mean? When men provide safe spaces for other men, that is an incredible feeling. So I don't think it's not always about the conquest or the acquisition. Sometimes we're just looking for safe spaces, to just be cool around each other.
Mm-hmm. How valuable do you think that it is for people to identify what their core values are? One thing that I realized through my own therapeutic journey is one of the exercises was to analyze, well, Melyssa, what are your core values? And I was like, I started thinking to myself, I was like, unless you're like talking to a therapist, nobody really has that kind of conversation with one another. But I think that it's integral to understand, yourself from a foundational aspect. But I also realized that that's the reason why a lot of people just kind of like throw themselves around and just like, kind of like just hit other people, like, just in terms of just not aligning based on core values and beliefs, aligning on more superficial things. So if we were to have that understanding of what our core beliefs were, then we would have a lot more, I don't know, success in life, whatever that looks like for you.
But core values, core beliefs are actions and deeds, not words and lip service. And I think that's where we get it fucked up nowadays. People talk a good game, but like, you can't talk about having integrity. You got to show me. You can't talk about being trustworthy. You got to show me. You can't talk about, loving me. You got to show me that you love yourself. And that's why, a lot of the core values that I have, they come from me observing how people treat others. I always say that, man. If you want to see how somebody's eventually going to treat you, watch how they treat other people. Because eventually it's going to be your turn. And to what you were saying about the superficial aspect of it all, I don't respect people who treat, the CEO different than they treat the custodian. Because you're only treating the CEO, that way because they're the CEO and what they have. I want you to treat the CEO and the custodian with the same amount of respect because they're both humans. That, to me, is a core value in action. Because like I said, I believe in integrity, I believe in trust, I believe in honesty. You can't tell me you're any of those things. You have to show me.
I can sit and talk to you forever. So we're going to have to just do this again, or I'm going to come.
And I'm also wrapping up there. What Charlamagne said, I agree with. So, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up here. And in conclusion, because I do feel like, let me go to my page. In conclusion, I do feel like that Melyssa Ford doesn't understand man. I think she even like she has these ideas in men, but I don't think she ever gets. She don't ever understand man. I don't think she's ever to a point where she would understand a man. Um, which is why I, even me as a Melyssa Ford simp, have to call some of this shit out because a lot of this shit don't make sense. And then it's just like when you listen to it, it's like, this is your idea of what you think men is? And it's just like every time I hear it, it's just like disappointed. But I think, again, a lot of these women have a fear of men. I don't feel like a lot of these women don't love men, they fear men. It's just like how women feel like no one likes black women. It's just like, I just think, and Charlamagne said it. I think if we ever just get to a space where a nigga can let his guard down, he'd be straight. And I said the same thing. I said the same thing. If a nigga, it's like if both, because like I said, me myself, I want you to be around me. I want you to be yourself. I don't care how goofy you are. I don't care how eccentric you are. Like I want you to be you, and I want you to always be you around me. If you can't be yourself around me, then I don't know what to say because I was just like, maybe because I feel like I do build make a safe space for men and women to be themselves, and that's what I pride myself on is for you to be in a safe space to where you can be yourself and you can come to me for anything. Now, it may scare people. I think it might scare people, but other than that, I feel like I feel like if a lot of people adapted that type of mindset, we wouldn't have this gender war, especially black people, because like I said, we need each other, and I don't want to have this gender war with people. I don't want to have where we're just decentering each other. Even though men don't decenter themselves, like we they don't decenter themselves around from women, unless like you got your MGTOW um and shit. But other than that, it's just like I think we really just want to be finding a nice woman that we could like spend the rest of our life with, have kids with, get married, have a vacation. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what a lot of us is really just yearning for. We're yearning to have that type of companion where we could just be soft and like talk to about anything, and like they'll listen and they'll respond back. Not just to respond back, just to respond, but just to like be very insightful. Which again, shout out to Crystal because I think like she does it the best, and me and B too. Like I think me and B we have this understanding with each other. So she know. So anybody that I name, shout out to them. I got love for y'all, and I'm in here. I hope y'all enjoyed this after party. I didn't fall asleep, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I am tired. So after this, I am going to bed. So I hope y'all enjoyed this after party. And how do y'all feel about Melyssa Ford after this? Do you feel like she doesn't understand man, or do you feel like I was bullshitting? But yeah, it seems like she don't really understand man. But shout out to Charlamagne because I feel like she was trying to make her understand, and it just wouldn't go down like that. So again, this is the after party. I am your host, Ray. Thank you for coming with me to the after party. Till next time, people. Peace.